this can be our last section. Let's pick Anand's striking options. This can be our last section going forward.
Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. I'm Kshitij and I'm joined by my usual suspects of Akshay and Anand after a game week that I really don't have any words to explain. Not a game week that we were expecting with only 19 goals. Akshay, Anand, welcome back, boys. It's been not a great game week, but yeah, if you've scored anywhere above 40, 50 points, I think you've done well. I mean, and if you somehow have 60, 70 points, it's been a great game week for some guys and huge green arrows. Akshay, how was your game week, man? How have you been doing?
Yeah, so finally managed to get my green arrow, which is long due. So although it was a small one, I managed to score 50 points, and I don't know if it was with everyone else, but 50 felt like 500 for that game week because people were like, "This is the worst game week in the FPL history ever," and only 19 goals scored after we were seeing 41, 44 goals scored in a game week. Uh, so there are signs of Premier League coming back to normalcy, but we'll see what game week 7 has in store for us.
Yeah, definitely. Anand, man, I mean, would you like to share your plight with everybody else after what you did in the transfer saga and your love affair with Aguero, which ended up backfiring?
Yeah, it's not a secret anymore. I removed Bamford and got in Aguero, and Bamford scored a hat trick. Also, I captained Aguero, so uh, I mean, can't just say anything apart from laughing. But yeah, can't just be really sad about it as well. So overall, 52 points. Like you said, I was still relieved because when I saw the averages of everybody else, I was kind of a little bit relieved. But yeah, I could have been one of those guys who could have got points below 40. It turned out to be decent even after taking out Bamford. But yeah, I could have been so much more happy today sitting here with you all if I had Bamford as my team. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but that's all right, man. That is the name of the game. You win some, you lose some, and that is why I don't think personally I can trust the Leeds asset anymore because whenever you think so, Bamford was owned by approximately 30% of the FPL managers, and he was benched by more than almost half of them. So yeah, 50 points for me as well. Took a -4 hit for Kane. Took out Werner. That ended up helping me as I captained Kane for 10 points. Spurs definitely not looking like the side against Burnley, but we'll definitely jump into that. And with that, boys, let's get down to business and start our discussion with the essentials for going into game week 7. Yeah, so definitely when we look at the essentials, there we already have a lot of usual suspects that have been following us almost from the start of the season. Calvert-Lewin, I think I jinxed it in the last episode. I said that he hasn't blanked yet. He not only did he blank, he also got a yellow card for a mere point of one. But yeah, that goes to show Everton, are definitely missing some of their key players in Coleman and Gomez as well. But nothing to take away from Southampton, where they actually played really well and did not really let Everton play. The only thing I feel that I'm concerned about calling DCL an essential anymore is that Everton are indeed lacking a lot of key players in their squad right now. But looking at it's just one bad game week, and I think that that's being too harsh on DCL because he did not really have any supply to him in the last game week. I'm definitely planning to keep him in my team for the next couple of game weeks because he has earned the right of the patience. If I showed patience with Werner, why not DCL after one bad game week? I don't think that is the right call to make. From midfield, Son. I mean, in the last game week as well, I'll refer it to it again. I said whenever he's fit, he plays, and whenever he plays, he gives returns. Uh, Definitely took Spurs out of a really tough game, which I felt the Burnley was holding really good as a formation. But that Kane and Son combination definitely working the magic with that great headed assist to a headed goal as well. I really haven't, seen that kind of goals in the recent past. Definitely feel that Son is definitely an essential in the upcoming 2 game weeks where they have really good fixtures. And after that, going into game week 9 or game week 10, we might have to take a call if any manager has both Kane and Son. What do we need to do? And on defenders, Robertson is my pillar. Thankfully, I don't have Trent, I don't have Salah. I only have been hoping for the last couple of game weeks that they don't return. And thankfully, for some odd reason, Salah so unlucky the last game week did not return. But yeah, with BVD injured, definitely I look like it is only a matter of time that I get Robertson out of my team because I think that I need to free up some cash to get in Salah. But yeah, that is something that I'm pondering on. But great offensive returns rather from Robertson in the couple of game weeks, which make him an essential for me. Anand, you look at these players. I mean, took a punt on Aguero for Bamford. That's all right. But when you look at essentials going into next game weeks, what are your thoughts?
So Ings and Jimenez are somebody that I really feel are somebody who just keeps on ticking. And when you're looking to build a team, you need certain players, who might not be as explosive as others are, but they just keep ticking, and you really don't have to waste your transfer on anyone else, because if you have them once and for all, uh, they'll just end up being a very good FPL asset throughout the 38 game week. It really doesn't depend on with these players, especially about Ings or Jimenez that I was talking about. It really doesn't depend on how the team is playing, because they are both so clinical. Their finishing is just really clinical. They're proper. They're a mix of target man plus they run the channels well. Both are really good when it comes to when it comes to creating goals as well. They do provide assists as well. So all round strikers, and I feel it's important to have some. It's important to have these kind of players as well in your team. Um, Regarding midfielders, I think Mane is somebody who's just taken our uh, notice. Also, in the last year, if you remember, Mane was very close to Salah in terms of FPL points and in terms of returns as well. So Salah gave around 30 returns last year, while Mane gave 28 returns last year. So by 28, it was 18 goals and 10 assists, and for Salah, it was 19 goals and 11 assists. So Mane is really looking sharp as well. His NPXG is in the top two this season, NPXG plus XA as well. So that stands that talks a lot about him, because he's getting into those goal scoring opportunities. Mane is somebody who does score spectacular goals. So XG might not give you those those data where somebody's scoring a spectacular goal or not. But Mane is somebody who does that so as well. Defense speaks for themselves. We haven't had a lot of players this season who've given clean sheet, barring Mr. Wolves, Size. I think Size, what a lucky break for all the managers who had Size last week. Uh, but yeah, with clean sheets, it's still early days. We're still discovering which is the team that is solid at the back. Um, Cresswell, to me, feels like somebody who is doing David Moyes proud throughout his Premier League journey. He's always been known for his crosses. And this season, if I never thought that I'm gonna talk about Cresswell, especially because of the run West Ham had. West Ham had like dreadful fixtures. Every Everybody just felt like David Moyes might be the first manager to get sacked, but the tables have turned for them, and kudos to Cresswell as well for that. He's looked good. Um, Regarding keeper, honestly speaking, yeah, there are names mentioned, but I cannot think anyone beyond Martinez this season. Especially because we don't want to waste transfers on keepers at all. You know, we just don't want to waste transfers on keepers. But the names mentioned here are pretty good for this game week. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody who's playing their wild card might definitely take a feather out of the essentials and might, want to go for Patricio or Lloris, given the form their teams respectively are in, both especially being so solid in defense. Akshay, what are your picks, man? Anyone from, of course, I mean, since this is a kind of a template is now started to form, what are your opinions on the essentials going forward?
Yeah, so I spoke about this in the previous episode as well. I'm still scared about not owning Kane, and I feel this could be the fixture that Kane explodes. Brighton, they do not look so good at the back, despite being up there on the stats for not conceding a lot of chances. But it just takes a couple of goals to open them up, and if that happens very early with Spurs, you've seen them score 3-4 past any team, and that is where I feel Kane and Son are top captaincy options as well this week. And in fact, all of the names we have here in Kane, Salah, Mane, and Son, all of them are top captain options this week, and we have a lot of choices. And Trent looked good in the Champions League game, and he was unlucky not to get more than an assist. So they also managed a clean sheet there, despite Fabinho going off injured. So I'm not sure why they're not doing that in the Premier League, because we need FPL points. We are not cared about the Champions League clean sheets. So yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah, definitely. Champions League giving us an alternative kind of a parallel universe or alternate universe in regards to players where we've seen Liverpool perform the way they did, and yesterday Manchester United scoring five past Leipzig. So with players like Fred and Van de Beek turning up, and also Bruno and Pogba, everybody played a great role. Rashford, of course, scoring a hat-trick, so making them even more, considerable for the essentials pick. But yeah, that is kind of what we think about going into Game Week 7 from an essentials perspective. Now we move on and take a look at the differentials. Yeah, so when I look at differentials, I mean, I have kind of, I think the FPL jinx still stays with me. Soon as I got rid of Adams, he has started to slowly and steadily give returns in consecutive weeks. We spoke about Danny Ings as an essential as well, and his two assists in the last game week were pretty amazing. And because he did play a really good part, but Adams is starting to get in the feel of things. He started to take a lot of shots as well. I mean, shots on target per 90 is 1.45, one of the highest if we talk about players of his caliber and his price point. So I think Adams is something that people might be able to look at, not necessarily if you've got only one free transfer, but if you have say two and you already want to go heavy on your midfield rather than your forward line, I think Adams is a really good shout out as well. Whereas in the midfield, I think Pulisic is starting to grab my eye again. He also played really well in the Champions League. I think sort of expected given that he has not really played a lot of minutes. His stats almost scream of that with only NPXG plus XA only of 0.15, one of the lowest. But we all know what Pulisic can do last season as well. Really explosive player. And with Chelsea now gelling up as a team with all the new signings, I think his place in the team will cement playing alongside great players as well, and we can expect returns with his ownership of as less as 3.9%. And I mean, differentials of defenders, I think Godfrey, I saw him play when he got substituted a couple of weeks back. I found him all right. I mean, but this is a really dangerous, player to go for. Even though his ownership is drastically low at 0.1, I think I've never ever seen a player with such a low ownership feature in any of the tweets or the FPL community podcasts and blogs as well. But looking at how Everton are missing Coleman as well as Lucas Digne, I think Godfrey might get a chance to start, and I think again I'm willing to take a chance on Everton should I or any other manager will be willing to invest in their defense. Uh, Mendy as well. I mean, from a goalkeeper's perspective, Chelsea's game has gone up a notch. He's had two clean sheets. He's had almost a save percentage of 100. I think we still don't really have a lot of data or a lot of games that he has had to play because he was injured as well. But definitely, I mean, Chelsea's defense feels rejuvenated after knowing that the blunderous Kepa is not in the goal. Akshay, what do you think of the differentials rule? I mean, any of these players or any other player on your mind?
Yeah, I'll just touch upon the point you spoke about Che Adams. So for Che Adams owners, I don't think there's any reason for you to take him out right now, because he is developing an amazing chemistry with Danny Ings, and The only concern with we had with Che Adams was will he get the minutes, and I think Hassan Hutel is completely impressed with his performances, and he's getting his minutes due. So there's not a lot of rotation, and that is where you can keep hold of him at 5.8, I think. And coming to midfielders, I think Mahrez could be an interesting differential this week because he did not start the Champions League game, and that is where you start double thinking about Pep's plans for the Premier League. And because Sterling and Foden have been playing 90 minutes back to back, I think Sterling played 90 minutes again. So there are concerns about them being rotated. So Mahrez, he should start against West Ham. And I already have Pulisic, so he looked good in the Champions League game, as you just pointed out. And really good to see that he was really selfish when he got the chance. I think it was Tammy Abraham who played him in, and he did not look for Werner, who was just there for a tap in. He just shot it in, and that's really good to see because he needs those goals and assists after coming back from a long injury. Coming to defenders, I think Semedo, he's cementing his place in that right wing back position for Wolves after Doherty left for Spurs, and there were concerns that he might be a rotation risk with Adama, but uh, clearly Nuno is not a big fan of Adama starting games because he's been bringing him on off the bench like that we have that pattern now. Podence will go off after the 60 minutes. He'll bank a clean sheet. He'll give you 3 points, and Adama will come off, and Wolves will win 1-0. That's like it's a template that's going on forever. So Semedo giving you clean sheets and those odd assist points, maybe I think he's a good option. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, definitely. Wolves assets, I mean, rightly pointed out, Semedo, Podence, Adama, Saiz, Jimenez. For some reason, I've tripled up on Wolves. I intend to keep it that way for this game week at least. But yeah, Anand, what are your differentials, man? Are you looking forward for Antonio or any other player from any other position?
So Antonio has a niggling problem with his hamstring, but he looks really nice on paper and as well as on by paper I mean in terms of stats he's looking really nice, and in terms of eye test as well he's looking good. And Moyes has already confirmed that he he will stick with Antonio as a striker because Antonio gives him a lot of pace that Haller doesn't give him. So that way I do believe that Antonio could be a great bargain as well at 6.3. He's leading the West Ham line, who has just signed Benarama as well, and they're even without him, uh, they they have players like Bowen and all. So it looks like a good mix. West Ham again. Never thought I'm gonna discuss West Ham assets with you guys, but uh, football is a funny game. Things change like that. Momentum come the moment your team has the momentum, you start flying, and feels like a lot of training ground. Philosophy is going into the team, and they're certainly benefiting from that. I think you guys have spoken enough about the midfield differentials, and as I agree with you guys on the likes of Mahrez and Pulisic. Although I do believe that Barkley is a special shout because of his price. I think at his price, suddenly he's taken off a lot of pressure from Grealish. Last year, we used to see that Grealish was the one who was the ball used to be there. It was he was mostly responsible for carrying forward the attack or even sometimes building up the attack. But now Grealish can be wandering around the penalty area because he has the likes of Barkley or he has the likes of even Watkins. Really good hold up players and really good dribblers as well. They like to run with the ball. So I think Barkley can be a great shout. It's just risen in price as well. He was 5.9 till a week or two back. He's now 6. Still a great value. Uh, and the next picture kind of the next Barclays the next picture is not so bad because they are playing Southampton, and Southampton likes to play a high line, so could benefit him as well. uh, really confused about the Spurs wing backs. Feels like Spurs wing backs are something similar to Man City's wing backs. You can't just put a name who's gonna start. because there's Zinchenko, there's Mendy, there's Walker, there's Cancelo, and similarly now at Spurs they have Doherty, they have Aurier, they have Reguilon, they have Davis. So it's like there's a whole lot of options that Mourinho has, and because of that, I'm really not sure about Aurier, but he has the highest NPXG plus XA out of all the defenders right now. So that is a stat which will tempt Mourinho uh, because we all know about Aurier's attacking prowess. So Spurs got really juicy fixtures. They're playing Brighton and West Brom up next, and these are the matches that Mourinho would like to attack. At least that is what I am thinking. You never know with Mourinho. He might just shut his shop even against Brighton, but he would like to attack. And if that is a scenario, Aurier may benefit in the next two fixtures. So keep an eye on his press cons. Maybe he gives an hint, although he just whatever he says in the press cons, probably he'll do just the opposite. So that is your hint regarding Aurier.
Yeah, actually, absolutely correct. I mean, with Mourinho, you really never know. And Brighton being the leaky side that they've been, I mean, it's definitely on cards that Mourinho plays an all-out attack. Regulon did not start the last fixture because I think it was of tall, burly defenders or something like that. But Regulon, I personally feel that might accompany Aurier in that defensive line, which might result into a lot of attacks from the wing backs as well. Yeah, boys, with that, I think we've had a great discussion about the differentials. And now I think it's time to dive down into our final segment of the game week 7 assets, the cheapies. So yeah, talking about cheapies, I think I'm just going to leave Bamford for Anand and not talk about him at all because I haven't had him in my team for a very long time. But yeah, when I look at these players, Callum Robinson does, pique my interest a bit. Not because of his stats, he's not got the best stats, like apart from with the players that are mentioned here. But the fact that he plays Fulham next is definitely something on my mind. Um, had I been, taking a free hit, or maybe if I had a transfer in hand, I might be considering, because as I said earlier, I need to free up some cash to get Salah in because that is giving me sleepless nights now. I don't know till what time will my prayers be answered that Salah keeps on blanking. But yeah, Robinson for me, with his low ownership of 0.8, not necessarily the best of the options, but yeah, with given the fixtures that he has up next, is someone who I'm definitely looking forward to. Like Anand said, I really did not think that we'd be discussing West Ham's asset, but uh, since West Ham play Liverpool, and I feel that Bowen has a knack of scoring or giving FPL points against bigger teams, might be a good punt. Talking about the defenders, Kilman is someone who I have my eyes on because it seems that Saez and Kilman eventually might be, up for the same position, but we still never know what's going to happen. Thankfully, Saez did give me a clean sheet, but Kilman definitely, the first two games that he played, a total of 21 points. And I know managers who've had him on the bench for 2 game weeks straight and losing out on 21 points. So yeah, definitely that is what my picks would be from the GP section. Anand, take it away, dude. Take it away. I know you're hurting, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think we should just leave this section for Jim because the players that I'm going to talk about are from Leeds, and who better than Jim to talk about these players? Um, since he's not here, I'll just take the baton and I'll talk about Bamford to begin with. Right from the start, I always believed in Bamford, feeling like Leeds gonna produce a lot of chances, and Bamford has been getting a lot of chances because of that. The only question we all had about Bamford was his finishing, but can we question that now? Like, it's something which he has a wonderful left foot. That's like kind of he's already showed it, and it wasn't about the hat trick. Honestly speaking, it's more about the chances that he keeps on getting from Leeds, which kind of makes him a very top pick, not just because of his price. I mean, because of the chances he's getting, he keeps on getting chances after chances. That's something which really speaks volume about him. It was just 1 week that I did not have him. He scored a hat trick, but it, sometimes, if you've made a mistake, you can turn it around, and that is what I'm thinking. It was between Bamford, Harry Kane, and Antonio, because one of her Twitter handle I started interacting with FPL Desi girl. She mentioned good points about Antonio, but again, Bamford is something I'm still eyeing on because at 5.9 you won't lose a lot. Even if he gives a blank, sometimes it's good to back your players. I was heartbroken when I was removing him last time. I was only getting him in because I felt Aguero will score a hat trick. turns out the Turns out something else happened because Aguero, we all know what happened to him. Yeah, I think spent a lot of time on Bamford alone, as it was expected as well, because I am hurt right now.
It's all right,
But
man.
so I think regarding cheapies, Jorginho is somebody again. I never thought I'll talk about him, but he's on penalties. He missed a penalty last night in the Champions League, but Lampard was still positive. Feels like Jorginho will be on penalties. Plus, Jorginho likes to play those long balls, and now with Pulisic and Werner, they got a lot of pace in them. Why I mentioned the name of Jim was because of this guy called Alioski. With Phillips out, there were doubts. Can Leeds do well without them? Without him? I think Leeds have just silenced everybody, and Alioski comes to our mind. Uh, at 4.5, look at his ownership, like 0.4. What a differential this guy added into our GP section, and he's a goal threat. This guy is a goal threat, certainly. Who at his price at 4.4, you might want to offload the likes of Vinagre if you still have him in your team, and you've just suffered a price drop, so you might just go ahead and do that. But still, yeah, I mean, if you're going to Leeds, Dallas and Ailing are still the better pick, especially in these weeks. I think it's Dallas who is a better pick because Ailing is somebody. Ailing has started playing centre back because of the injury to Calvin Phillips, and Dallas has taken up his spot at right back. So because I usually prefer wing backs because they usually bomb forward. I think Dallas is a good pick, but Alioski, he's a he's like a really good goal threat. Yeah. Over to you.
Yeah, great analysis coming from our heartbroken boy who took out Bamford for Aguero. That is a separate love affair. And I'm pretty sure, man, like, given the faith that you have in Aguero, he might be injured in the upcoming game week, or I don't know what your plans are. We're going to discuss it later. But definitely, this is the game FPL is, and I'm sure that no one knows it better than you. And even though you remove Bamford, 52 points, not bad at all. Then, Akshay, would you like to wind up how your cheap picks for the upcoming game week?
Yeah, I think we'll have to get Jim on really soon because if you have to pick one side out of the Premier League teams, like out of the 20 teams who have performed well in throughout the 6 games, I think it has to be Leeds because apart from the loss against Wolves, which is a marginal 1-0 loss, I think Leeds have been the most impressive side despite losing a lot of players down to injury or suspension. So Alioski has filled in for Dallas at left back, and like Anand pointed out, Ailing moved to centre back and Dallas at right back. So Ailing was a standout last game. He performed really well against Aston Villa, and they bagged another clean sheet there. Despite Villa's attacking threats, Grealish was really close. Effort cleared off the line, and Alioski was really unlucky not to bag an assist in the first half. So yeah, Anand spoke about the chances that Bamford got. So apart from the 3 goals that he got, I think he missed a lot of chances in the first half as well. He got a couple of golden chances, and both were from Alioski. So he's really bombing up forward down that left, and Stuart Dallas doing likewise on the right. So those guys are the assets that you want to look out for if you're looking for cheap defenders. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, we come to the end of our discussion of the GPs for Game Week 7. And our condolences to all of the managers who either like Anand transferred out Bamford or had Bamford or the likes of Bamford remaining on your bench who did not end up coming onto your team and you had points remaining on the bench as well. But that is the name of the game. That is how FPL is. And just to quickly wrap up this episode, boys, I think it's imperative that we discuss the captain picks since we have a lot of good captain options going into this game week and our strategies of transfers going into game week 7. So I personally am torn between Kane and Son. I captained Kane, but in the last game week, but Son ended up giving scoring the goal. But thankfully, my -4 hit did not go in vain. I personally think that Kane is someone like Akshay. You said that this might be the fixture that he actually turns it around and has a goal or a brace in store. Still willing to free up cash to get in Salah, but since I don't really have enough money, I think I'll keep in Sterling and bank my free transfer so that I can, basically go all in game week 10 and definitely get in Salah for either Son or if Sterling stops performing and like you said, playing 90 minutes throughout might be a great option for me to make way for Salah. Anand, who do you feel like captaining now that you can't captain Aguero? Hopefully that now that he's injured, and what are your transfer thoughts going into game week 7?
I'm more inclined towards Sterling for this game week, because he might just play as a striker. Yeah, that is that is what I feel. At the same time, I personally believe that KDB, Son, Sterling, and Kane and Salah, all five are like great picks for this game.
Yeah, and Akshay, what are your thoughts, man? What are your transfer plans and your captain pick going into game week 7?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm planning to roll my transfer like you. So I do have Reece James in my team, but him not starting the Champions League game gives me some hope that he starts against Burnley. So that is why I'm holding my transfer right now, and no plans to get Kane, although Kane less is brainless as we have just mentioned it. So my captain going into game week 7 would probably be Mo Salah if we get an update on his injury, because there was a video that was circulating on Twitter after the Champions League game that he was hobbling off after the game. But I don't think that was serious. Otherwise, we would have heard from Klopp about that. And despite Fabinho not being there, I think I'll hold on to Trent and Robertson as I pointed out. So no transfers for me, and Mo Salah for captain. Yeah.
Okay, this is my favorite section. Do you guys advise me to bring in Bamford
No way.
back, or should
I think after the advice we gave you last week, we don't get that opportunity again.
Yeah, well, I'm not really going to answer
you get to
that.
redeem yourself, guys.
So the only way you can redeem is probably get Bamford back in. But you've already lost the 17 points. So I don't have anything to say there.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, the discussion that we were having, there's no point crying over spilled milk already. And I mean, Leeds asset, they might fire in one game, they might not. I mean, I missed out on Son twice in 2 game weeks, and the game week that I got him, he gave me only a couple of points. So I blame Mourinho. You are free to blame either Bielsa or Bamford or us for that matter. Anyway, it's all right. We let that pass, man. It's been a rough game week for you. And with that, we come to an end of another episode after what has been an eventful game week for one of us, and a really wake up call of how EPL can be sometimes with only 19 goals. We hope that we've been able to bring you some value with this episode of FPL Escapades. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel, like this video, follow us on social media, and you know how it goes. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good one. And as always, may the arrows be green.